In today's Leeds news, former midfielders UK return, fixture change, Elland back in Leeds control, loan exit comments, Guilavogui future update, Bogusz sell-on clause, Gray return and his season focus, and Sonny Perkins exit could mean payout. Morning folks, Share here, Tuesday morning the 21st of January with your Leeds United news. Hope you're having a good week so far. There's a bit of stuff to get stuck into, no major transfer news. We're probably all glad of a little bit of a break from that. We have got a match preview tonight with Stats Dalton, 7 o'clock on the channel. You can check that out later on. If it's not Andrew, it'll be somebody else, but we'll sort that out later on. And then no news in the morning because I'm going to the Leeds match, so I'm flying out in the morning. There will be a warm-up video that goes out in the morning in its place, but back on Thursday as per normal. We'll start off with the news today, and we'll start off on a former Leeds United player, and it kind of Leeds adjacent news, but could be coming back to the UK and could impact on Leeds United season. It's not what was expected for former Leeds United midfielder Glen Kamara when he moved to Stade Rennais in the summer. The promise of European football high on his agenda when he moved to the French club, but it's not gone the way he would have planned. Last week, Glen Kamara was informed by the Stade Rennais management that he wouldn't be part of their squad for the second half of the season, and he was free to leave the club. Now, he could be on his way back to the UK and even a move to the Championship, or even potentially a move to the Premier League. The report states that Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Ipswich Town and Trabzonspor are all said to be interested in the central defensive midfielder. Middlesbrough may need to sell some players in order to bring Kamara in this January, but Sunderland boss Reggie Slibbery is on record as being an admirer of Kamara. He's only made 13 appearances in Ligue 1 this season for Stade Rennais, but we might see him back in the Championship sooner than we thought. Leeds' upgrade from Kamara was out to Naka, and that's proven successful enough for Leeds in terms of his passing ability, but he's also logged goals and assists, which we didn't get from Glen Kamara, but we could be seeing him back in a Sunderland or a Middlesbrough shirt before the end of this month. Moving on to a fixture change, and as we all know, Leeds United have progressed to the next round of the FA Cup and will play Millwall at Elland Road, but that means there's been a bit of a fixture change. So Leeds have confirmed that a game against Coventry City will now take place on Wednesday the 5th of February with a 7:45 kick-off time. More detail of that on the leedsunited.com website. Moving on to some news about Elland Road, and Leeds have now confirmed control of Elland Road Limited thanks to documents that have been placed with Companies House. Football finance expert Kieran Maguire shared documents that were sent to Companies House on the 17th of January showing that Leeds United Football Club Limited as a person of significant control as relates to Elland Road Stadium. This comes after the announcement in July of 2024 from the 49ers that the stadium was now wholly owned by the football club. Last season we saw former Leeds United owner Andrea Radrizzani attempt to leverage Elland Road and then part of one of his other companies in an attempt to buy Sampdoria. That didn't happen, and there was a lot of conversations around why Elland Road was owned by a separate entity and not the football club. Well, the transfer of the ownership from by the 49ers back to Leeds United Football Club means that Elland Road and Leeds United Football Club are fully connected again, finally, after a very long period of time, and the stadium is now fully owned by the football club and will be connected to it in case of any future sales. Moving on to some loan exit comments that came out this weekend from Daniel Farke, and Charlie Crew and Joe Gelhardt left last week on loan to respected clubs. But the talk of further youth loanees is being discussed over the course of the weekend. James De Bayo's name being one that came up after Luca Thomas also left on loan to Halifax. But De Bayo has been the main focus, and Daniel Farke though says that it's unlikely that James De Bayo will be permitted to leave Leeds this month, and that is mainly down to the injuries to Pascal Stroke, the issues with Max Ferber's knee, and just being generally light in that area of the park. De Bayo has only had a handful of minutes against Plymouth Argyle this season, and the obvious game to play him was the Harrogate match, and he didn't even make the squad against that game. Daniel Farke has shown that he's willing to play Ethan Ampadu centre-back or even Sam Byram centre-back when he doesn't have fully fit players. He's also got Joshua Guilavogui, so why the point of keeping James De Bayo around the squad when he's not going to be playing football seems a strange one to me. But Leeds obviously just not willing to let people go out just yet until maybe they brought some players in, and if Leeds do bring in a rumoured centre-back, maybe then James De Bayo could go out on loan. You'd hope he can get some football towards the back end of the season. And then moving on to Joshua Guilavogui, last week reports in France suggested that Paris FC could make a move for Leeds United central defensive midfielder Joshua Guilavogui. But reports in France today suggest maybe not. According to RMC Sport in France, they claim that Guilavogui looks set to finish the season and his contract with Leeds United at Elland Road until the summer. Guilavogui has always been aware of the brief since coming into Leeds United. Come in when needed, step in when wanted, and step back when the injured players returned. Ethan Ampadu and Ilya Gruev have both now returned way ahead of schedule for Leeds, and it could be understood that Guilavogui is probably a little bit surplus to requirements. But the impact that he's having off the pitch has been massive since he's arrived. There's been an awful lot of noise coming out of Elland Road from players around the impact that he's having, the positive impact that he has in the dressing room, and his influence on the younger players that Leeds have in this pretty young squad this season. So it would be wise of Leeds United not to upset the dressing room right now and keep things as it is for as long as they can. The finer detail on this report says that Paris FC did consider a move for Guilavogui and they contacted Leeds about the availability, but the lack of a follow-up suggests that Leeds made it pretty clear that the player will be staying at Elland Road until his contract expires in the summer. Moving on to a player that has left Leeds United a while ago, but some more news today, and yesterday's news about a possible bonus coming for Leeds United via Rafinha was very good news, but now another ex-Leeds player could be in line for a move that could put some money back in Leeds United's bank account. Polish attacker Mateusz Bogusz had a short spell at Leeds United, was loaned out to several clubs after having a pretty decent tour of Australia with Leeds United under Marcelo Bielsa and scoring a pretty good goal over there as well. But he went down on loan and it didn't really work, and he never really caught fire in any of the loan moves that he had. Leeds in 2023 bit the bullet with Bogusz. Although the talent was there, it wasn't being seen often enough, and they sold him to LAFC for £1 million, where he has flourished in his time over there and has been an excellent player for LAFC. On top of scoring some very spectacular goals over there, he has also picked up 2 caps for Poland and scored 24 goals in 90 appearances in the MLS. Celtic and Mexican side Cruz Azul are both said to now be very interested in the Polish attacker, and a move of £7 million has been touted to either of the two. The Yorkshire Evening Post understands that Leeds United did insert a sell-on clause in the 23-year-old's deal, and they could benefit from this should he move. The report doesn't say what percentage Leeds have in this, but does say that Leeds will be in line for a cash windfall. That could be anything 5 to 15%, possibly a nice big one, and that would be helpful for Leeds. But more money coming in the door from players that aren't even at the club anymore, and that can't be anything but positive heading into the summer, and hopefully a busy window for Leeds if we are back in the Premier League. Moving on to some good news that came out last week, and we got the good news that Harry Gray had returned to training after a lengthy period out with an injury that he picked up during pre-season. Joe Donoghue has a good piece in the Yorkshire Evening Post about Harry Gray and his comeback, the focus that the 15-year-old will have for the remainder of this season. Gray made his comeback over the weekend playing for the Leeds United under-21s in their 3-1 win over Everton in the Premier League 2. And according to the report from Joe Donoghue, the 15-year-old is now expected to remain with the under-21 squad for the remainder of this season as part of his continued development. So we might see him even pop onto the bench against Millwall. Unlikely, but if Leeds do have striker issues and they don't bring in a striker, Farke did like him in the summer, maybe you see him come into the first team setup, but I would be in no rush to put a 15-year-old in. We saw everyone rushing to put Mateo Joseph into the team, and we saw what the criticism he's had to deal with this season, so I wouldn't be in a rush for that one just yet. Go and buy a striker. Just go and get a striker. Moving on to the final story of today, and this one is another exit story from Leeds United that could bring in a few quid. And Sonny Perkins' contract at Leeds United expires in the summer, and he's been widely expected to be one of the players that would leave Leeds United. But comments made by Leyton Orient manager Richie Wellens could now see Leeds get a bit of a payout on this deal. Perkins has contributed to 10 goals in 28 games for Orient this season and has been in a very rich vein of form in recent weeks. After the recent 0-0 draw with Peterborough, Richie Wellens said that he would like to keep Perkins permanently. His form and interest from other clubs may mean that Orient might want to make a move earlier than wait until the end of the season, where they would be then negotiating with a free agent who could talk to as many clubs as he wants. And on the potential of signing the player on a permanent deal, Wellens said the following: "We are negotiating with a centre forward and a midfielder playing in a number 10 role. We also want to sign Sonny Perkins on a permanent deal." It's pretty cut and dry, that one, isn't it? They clearly want them. If they can bring him in January, Leeds will get a few quid for him. If he goes for free in the summer, whatever club he goes to, Leeds will get a small amount of money from a compensation that goes out to players that spent some of their development time in the academy. So he was an under-21 player. Leeds will get a small amount of money from that if he goes to the end of the season, or they could sell him in January if there's interest and see what they get on there. But we'll keep an eye on these over the next 2 weeks of the January transfer window. Window doesn't close until the 3rd of February, I believe, this year. So bit of time left in this one, yeah, and I fully expect it to kick into gear next week, or it'll be a late one, I'm sure. Anyway, folks, that'll be it for me. I'll see you tonight for the preview for the game against Norwich tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Talk to you soon. See you. Bye.